Hey everyone, today I want to talk to you about music theory a little bit and kind of share my heart on music theory. It's kind of what I wanted to do. I got stuck being a band director, which I like doing, but I also wanted to be a music theory teacher whenever I was in high school. I thought it was like a really cool thing. And so I get to share that with you in a little bit and also teach a little bit of music theory as part of being a band director. But I have two goals in this video. Number one, I want to talk to you about the numbers that are sometimes written along with chords. Okay, so you'll see a chord that'll say C2 or D7 or something like that, and so those numbers mean something, right? And I want to explain that what that is to you today. Also, I want to use the music of Charity Gayle to explain that. Okay, and the reason is because of a lot of the artists that are out there right now that are putting out some worship music. I've found and there's really nobody doing it as well as the Charity Gayle people, and whoever she's got writing her music is putting a lot of thought into it. That's not to take away from any other groups, but I just really enjoy playing that music because it's very intentional with some of the writing in there, and you'll get to see what I'm talking about here in a second. But I really do want to expose you if you're not doing any of the songs, especially from the most recent Charity Gayle album. I would encourage you to check it out because it's the music from a theological standpoint to a musical standpoint. It is really top notch. So I kind of want to bridge the two there and kind of kill two birds with one stone. So the very first thing I want to talk to you about is suspensions. Okay, a lot of times you'll see a chord and it'll have a SUS or an SUS4, and all that means is that whenever you build a chord, you have your triad, you have your root, your third, and your fifth. When you suspend the chord, instead of having the third, you'll raise that to the fourth scale degree. So you have a little bit of tension between those two pitches, the fourth and the fifth. They're right next to each other, a major second apart, right? So that really wants to resolve back down to the third. Okay, and so that's kind of a nice arrival chord. You'll hear these at the end of phrases, at the end at a cadential point in the song. Maybe you'll hear this chord. Okay, if you ever want to hear the mother of all suspensions, you check out Mahler's Symphony Number 5, the fourth movement. It lasts about like 30 seconds or something like that. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite musical moments. And so you want to hear what that sounds like, and what it's meant to really do is to kind of stretch out that tension and then arrive on a nice just simple triad. That is the intent. Now, that's not what they do every single time, okay? In particular, the opening line of I Speak Jesus. I'm going to try to sing through this. I've been sick lately, but you'll hear this line, I just want to speak the name of Jesus. You'll actually hear the melody name, the word name is the fourth. Okay, so instead of having that be an arrival chord, it's actually used as a passing tone, right? And so if you're playing that song and you leave out the suspension, you're gonna have somebody singing this pitch while you're playing this pitch. Okay, and so that's a lot of tension there that you don't want. So you want to make sure you play the suspension there. Okay, and now a lot of people will add suspensions gratuitously, and really it's not necessary for what's going on in the music. It's just a cool thing to do because you're doing it, right? And and so I think that is a really good intentional use of that. Okay, if that part were not notated in the music, and it is, if you go look on the chord sheets, then you're gonna have that tension right there, which you don't want. All right, for this song, we're in the key of B. So the B scale goes like this. There's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, right? Or back to the octave. So the fourth is the E, okay? And I'm gonna go from the suspension to the third, all right? And it'll go like this. I just wanna speak the name of Jesus. Okay, now if you watched one of my earlier videos, I talked to you about releasing the pedal, not overusing the pedal. You got to make sure that when you go from that to this, back to this, you release the pedal. Otherwise, you have that going on at the same time. That's not a pretty sound. Correctly. Now we're talking about seconds, okay? And we're gonna look at the song "We Need a Miracle," also by Charity Gayle. And I'm gonna be in B flat. I was in B the time before, and I'm gonna be in B flat. In the waiting, you get the glory. In the healing, you get the glory. Okay. Now the chord I'm looking at is the third chord. Okay. We're going from a C minor to G minor, and then we have a B flat 2. Okay. And so it's really important that you play that B2 and you have the C as the highest note in that chord, in that voicing, because that is the melody, right? And so that's why that's written as a B flat 2, right? And so a lot of times what I'll do when I'm playing that, I'll either do a run or a fill, some sort of embellishment that will end on that second scale degree, right? So I'll give you an example. Here's the G minor coming up next. And all I did is walked up from A, B flat, and then landed on C. And I'm still playing a B flat chord underneath, you know, all the stuff that's going on underneath is still chordally sound, but I'm ending on that C right there. And so I have the rest of the chord voiced in there, or somebody else in the band will be playing everything. So that's how that B flat 2 chord works. So if you play a B flat chord with a D in the soprano line at the very top, you're gonna have you playing this and your vocally singing this. Okay, you know, is that the worst thing in the world? No, but you want to be intentional about your playing, okay? And so that's a good way to do that, is to look at what's written and realize why it's written that way, okay? All right, here's the first chord. If we go to C minor to a G minor, and then we're gonna go to a B2. So I'm gonna just drop the D down to a C, keep the B flat, and then play an F down here and release the pedal. There's my new chord right there. And obviously I'd have a B flat if I have a spare hand to play down there. Okay, and that's the chord I go to next. And that's the melody right there. In the waiting, you get the glory. And then the very next chord, I believe, is an F, which we just talked about suspension. So I'm actually in an F sus4 setting right there as well. So I would just bring that middle finger down to the E, sorry, to the A. I would just bring that middle finger down to the A, and that would be my suspension for the next chord as well. So again, just being intentional about having this note in the soprano and setting up the rest of the chords to be able to be smooth after that. The last thing I want to talk about today are the sevenths. Okay, sevenths. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I play them a little bit too much, and it's just what my hands. You know, when I put them down to play a chord, it just does that naturally. And they're a little easier to hide sometimes if you voice them within the chord. But sometimes they're very, very integral to the chord that is written. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you a Charity Gayle option, and the song we're looking at is "Thank You, Jesus, for the Blood." And the bridge is what I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play that for you. We're gonna be in the key of A. Notice that we were in B, and then we went to B flat, and now we're in A. So again, I referencing the video that I made a few weeks ago about being able to play in any key. You definitely want to be able to do that. And you know, you may do these songs in a different key, but you never know what that key will be, right? So you want to be ready to do that. And so just, you know, make sure that you're proficient in all the keys there. But the bridge goes like this, and I'm sorry for my voice is still not 100% after having been sick. There's nothing stronger than the wonder-working power. And I'm not going to be able to hit this pitch right now, but that's the melody of the blood. And then this is going to be the pitch right there of the melody. I can't hit that right now because I'm sick, but that is the pitch right there, that B. So I'll show you the voicing there. But in this case, the seventh is the melody, right? We don't see that very often, but that's why it's important that you voice that particular chord with the seventh on the top, right? Imagine if I played that C sharp chord, but I played it like this, and I actually had the C sharp at the top. So you'd hear the vocalist singing this note, and then I'm playing this note at the top. So we have that clashing sound there, that my major second sound, really, dissonant together, right? So close. A lot of times you can break up some of the dissonance by putting more space between the notes that are so close together, right? So in this case, having a C sharp and a B, almost an octave apart, that doesn't sound nearly as dissonant as having that right there, right next to each other at the top. So that voicing is really important. And again, just applaud the people that made this music. Very intentional, and really lays down well for the keyboard, okay? All right, so here are our bridge chords. We're gonna go D in second inversion, D, then E second inversion, then we're gonna go to an F sharp minor, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the seventh in there. Okay, then for the C sharp minor, I'm gonna play an E chord, and I'm gonna double the seventh because it's such an important note. It is the melody. And with my left hand, if I wasn't holding the phone, I'd actually be playing that C sharp, and so you'd get this sound, okay? And that is the melody note. Again, instead of having that C sharp doubled up here, I'm doing it low so we have more space between the two dissonant notes right here, okay? This better than this, right? And so that's how we're able to avoid some of the edginess from the seventh. But again, melody is in the seventh, okay? That's how we use those sevenths, and use them intentionally, not just throw them out like I do sometimes unnecessarily. And one more thing I wanted to add on that is just going, from C sharp all the way up, C sharp to C sharp, that's an octave. But if we go up the scale, okay, and we're in A, so I'm using the A scale, 5, 6, 7. That's how we determine that that's the seventh of the chord, right? So we're able to make that chord there. So it's 7 notes away from the root, almost to the octave, okay? Again, we're using the A scale on that because we're in the key of A. Those are the biggies right there, your seconds, your fourths, and your sevenths. On occasion, you'll hear a sixth as well or something. That'll get you through the majority of a lot of the contemporary Christian music that's out there right now, and certainly a lot of the Charity Gayle stuff that's out there. But anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you, and please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope, again, that you would just continue to consider some of these songs and some of these principles as you're working through your music. Thanks. Bye-bye.